As long as Emma's ready.
She's live.
Okay, we're up and ready. Okay. All right, we're live. Thank you very much, Madam Clerk and members of staff. Okay, council, welcome to the regular council meeting on Monday, June the 24th, 2024. Council, we did meet in camera. We had a brief in-camera session. Council has returned at this time. So I'll start the meeting with our land acknowledgement by recognizing the First Nations, Métis and Inuit people of Canada as traditional stewards and caretakers of the land. We acknowledge that Clearview Township is located within the boundaries of Treaty 18, the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, the Tiatunati, and the Wendat, and it's the home to many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people as part of an intricate nationhood that reaches across Turtle Island. At this time of truth and reconciliation, we welcome the opportunity to work together towards new understandings and new relationships and ask the Creator for guidance in all that we do. And as always, I say it that the land acknowledgement is voluntarily said by me as the mayor of Clearview, and I'm very proud to do so. So council, as I said, we did have a closed session. We did have a little live streaming problem with our session to go in camera. So I just want to be clear that our recommendation to go in camera was moved by Councillor Beal and seconded by Councillor Walker. It was a unanimous decision in regards to a Municipal Act item 2B, and item 2E, and item 2F. And that was a brief discussion. I have a report as part of 9.1 of our agenda. Okay, now council. As a point of privilege, before we go to our adoption of the agenda, I would like to bring attention to something. Earlier on Saturday, we received notice that our former deputy mayor of Clearview Township passed away, Mr. Milton MacArthur. And Milton's very close to us here at this very table, as his son Robert is a councillor on our table. So Robert, first of all, deep condolences on behalf of the community to your mother and your entire family on the loss of Milt. But I must say, Milt was a deputy mayor at the time when this community was growing and was, basically setting our path in 1994. There's a photograph of the council of 1995, right after the election, when that first council was joined there. There's Mayor Curry along with his deputy mayor to her right. And then she's got her councillors McNiven and Carruthers there in the front row, and in the back you've got Patterson, Adams, Belcher, that's Kenny Ferguson, and then Mr. Verstegen, that's the name, sorry. So that was quite a council, and that was quite a time for Clearview Township when Milt and Carol were leading this municipality and building all of the policies and procedures and blending them between the four municipalities. So Milt was a big part of our township there for the time that he was our deputy, and he made a great contribution here. So thank you, Robert, for bringing in that photograph, and thank you also for the service your father gave. Okay, council, I do have another small announcement in the similar vein, and that is that we also got word over the weekend that a one-term councillor, Dave Norris, passed away as well. And he did serve council in the time of the Council of 22, which was in 1994 to 95. He was on that as a previous councillor in the village of Creemore, and got word on that. His daughter continues to volunteer with us at the Evening Hall Board, Monica, and so we give our condolences to their family as well. All right. Sorry for those news, but that's the personal privilege and honor that I have to present on your behalf. All right, council, we're going to move to item number 2, which is our approval of the agenda recommendation. Be it resolved that council of the Township of Clearview hereby approve the agenda dated June 24th, 2024 as presented. I'll look for a mover and seconder. Mr. Beelan, thank you. Mr. Walker, thank you. All those in favor? And that carries unanimous. Additionally, I want to note that Councillor Deneen, while she is not here tonight, she is in fact representing Clearview. She's at the Nottawa Elementary School graduation, representing Clearview there tonight. So we're pleased for her to do that, but regretfully, she's not here at this meeting. So hopefully the kids look sharp at graduation, which they always do in grade 8, don't they? Those little suits and ties and dresses look great. Okay, going to move on. Disclosure, pecuniary interest, and general nature thereof. Anybody have any disclosures in regards to the agenda? Oh, yes, go ahead.
I just remind the mayor that we do have a hockey game tonight to attend.
Oh, don't worry. I'm going to be as quick as I possibly can. There'll be no pecuniary interest or general nature thereof in regards to that. If anything comes up, please bring it forward. Public participation. There are none in the audience at this time. I would check with the clerk. Were there any electronic participations?
No, there wasn't, Your Worship.
Okay, thank you. Then we will move on in the agenda to deputations 5, none, and public meeting 6, none. Approval of the council meeting minutes, item 7, recommendation be it resolved, council of the township of Clearview hereby approve the minutes of the June 4th, 2024 council meeting as presented. And that's it. So mover and seconder, Broderick and the deputy mayor, thank you. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor? That carries unanimous. Thank you. Closed session report, if any, item 9.1. I do have a small report. We have 2 motions here, which I will read and I'll look for a mover and seconder. This first one is a recommendation. Be it resolved, the council of the township of Clearview hereby direct staff to act in accordance with the direction provided in closed session regarding the Shell Farm enforcement update. Can I have a mover and seconder? Mr. Walker, thank you. Mr. MacArthur, thank you. Seeing nothing further, all those in favor? That carries unanimous. Thank you. Nottawa Hall Board recruitment. Be it resolved that council of the township of Clearview hereby direct staff to act in accordance with the direction provided in closed session regarding the Nottawa Hall Board recruitment. Can I have a mover and seconder? Mr. Beelan, thank you. Mr. Broderick, thank you. Any questions? Seeing none. All those in favor? That carries unanimous. Thank you very much. That's 9.1. Moving on to 9.2, we've got the NVCA board highlight meetings. 3 is the media release from the province of Ontario about investing $125,000 to restore and enhance wetlands in the Nottawasaga watershed, which also comes from the NVCA. Is there anything else from the mayor's report? Anybody want to speak on any of these items? Not at this time. Okay, moving on to county reports. There is a press release regards to the tourism Simcoe County. They have obviously got a lot of work ahead of them as Simcoe County continues to be a tourism destination. Clearview is mentioned in it a few times, and it's a very positive document. So also at this time in county reports, the deputy mayor and I, first of all, I'll tell you what, I'll go to the deputy mayor. He wants to speak about the meeting that he held or attended on the Tuesday last week. So why don't you speak about that?
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm usually a little better with my notes, but unfortunately I can't write too much right now. But the meeting last week focused on, or the agenda was a workshop based on governance. And this right now, for just to put the stage in place, the county of Simcoe is the largest county in Simcoe County is the largest county in the province of Ontario, just over 500,000 people, and we're now pushing towards the $1 billion budget. So it's become quite substantial in its presence. So the question is, and I understand from previous councillors that this is reviewed every term at looking at how we run. So for discussion purposes, we have 32 councillors. We won't talk about the independent cities. So we have 32 councillors, and from that 32 people, we elect a warden. So the options were presented to council to look at, and we will be hearing more about that in workshops coming forward for the public as well. The comments being basically we leave it as a status quo. We look at making the warden a full-time position. We look at cutting the councillors in half and either appointing 5 or 7, we'll call them roving or regional electorates who will do the work. So right now the problem we have is, and I'll just talk a bit about money because that always comes down to what we look at as a councillor is how effective we are in our leadership and how effective we are in using the monies. We do not get paid a lot. We are the lowest paid councillors in basically the province when it comes to the county councillors. So basically a lot of the councillors always are concerned. We sit on committees, we do all this extra work, compensation is minimal. So if we were to get rid of half the councillors, we would save some money. But are we going to get the people in place to do the work? So it's a real discussion point for what do we want for the future? What is this community going to look like? All the community is going to look like. So as has been discussed a lot, but the province has really backed off since they got their hands slapped with the region appeal because they realized the cost as a whole is cheaper to run than as the parts of a few. So it's just something we've asked council, our staff to come back and report on. But we're definitely open to discussions and reception and get ideas what we can do going forward. So Doug, you may want to add a little bit to that. You're a little more wise and been with it a little longer.
No, I don't think so, but thank you. I appreciate the fact that you were able to participate and give a good review of that meeting. I was regretfully unable to attend it as I was at another important meeting for the province of Ontario at the NEC. So thank you for representing Clearview at that very important discussion. And yes, we do need to look to the future and look to good governance models and consider the size of council and consider the workload too, though. Like whether, simply cutting the council number in half would effectively increase the number of committees that each member would have to attend. There's a couple of things that I would have brought up and I will maybe bring up in the future, and I'll just share it with you right here. If council voted to do such a thing, and that is to cut the county council numbers down, I would make a recommendation to council that they consider all elected officials across the whole county as possible members of committees, so that they could participate in committee work at the county level as any councillor from across the whole council, the whole area. And that way we could share some of that workload as well as gain some of that knowledge that comes from other politicians from across the region. That was one of the things I would have brought up, but we'll see if I can get a chance to bring that up in the debate.
Well, and I think there's a lot of people who are receptive to ideas right now. What's the best for, from a costing point of view, what's the most effective in leadership? But it still comes down to we are growing. So do you make the ship smaller when you need more ballast? I don't know what the right answer to it is. It's something that we're looking at our staff for some leadership and to make some recommendations. And we are being mandated. Everybody's aware the province is looking over our shoulders right now. What do we do there and going forward in the future? So
Paul and Deputy Mayor, the reason I was away from that meeting is I was in Niagara Falls and Niagara on the Lake region. And I very quickly understood when I started meeting some of the representatives down there about the complexities of the Niagara region with over 250 elected officials in that whole region. Small towns like Lincoln, which are physically very, very small town, has a full council of 9, et cetera. And so there's a real questions being raised about the whole Niagara region. And unfortunately, the province of Ontario did name a whole group of regions that need to be reviewed. And one of them is Simcoe County. I don't think we're the worst of it, but I'm not going to say we're the best either. But I would suggest to you that we could have some changes come to the county table yet, and we'll see where council goes with this. I understand the recommendations came to go back to the governance committee, so we'll see what the governance committee produces. But from that very point, I wanted to bring something up that has sort of surfaced over the weekend as well. I learned over the weekend that there's a meeting on July the 8th being held at the county offices that's being held by a provincial committee, the Heritage and something committee. Anyway, they're meeting to review regional review and regional government reviews. They've been doing this across the province, asking questions at various locations. And apparently they're going to be here at Simcoe on July the 8th. Now, this is really timely given that, we are not going to have another meeting as council between now and then. Just so you know, I wasn't even notified about this officially, except for a conversation I had with the deputy mayor from Collingwood. And then I discovered that Collingwood actually had a motion tonight on their agenda about this. So they were obviously well informed about this meeting. And I went to my clerk this morning, our clerk, and our clerk quickly looked this up and did not find any information on it. Madam Clerk, is that correct?
Thank you, Worship. No, we didn't receive any correspondence from the ministry that was occurring on July 8th. I did reach out to our clerk at the county level. They didn't receive specific correspondence anyways. However, they were aware that something was going on July 8th.
So, thank you. And so as a result, I have a copy of the motion that came from Collingwood Council tonight, not knowing how they developed it. You can go look it up online yourselves if you wish. But I just want you to know that we may have to make some rather quick decisions in regards to the July 8th presentation. If so, I may have to call a meeting by Zoom quickly to have a conversation with each of you in a Zoom meeting, or I'll have a consultation with the CAO and the clerk and see if we can put together just comments from the mayor in regards to this, because it's a quick just turnaround. So we don't even have an official notice of this yet, but I wanted you all to know this and be aware of it, okay? Any questions? You guys heard anything about this? See, they haven't heard anything either. So I find this quite interesting. Okay. All I can suggest to you, councillors, is I will do my best to keep you informed as I learn about this. Okay, I wasn't going to call you all out today on it because I want to get an answer from Sasha and give the benefit of the doubt to our staff to find information. And as it turns out, there is no information. So we'll get back to you as soon as we know. County Council will be meeting again tomorrow. So maybe it's be announced to us there as an on the floor announcement because it's not on our agenda. So we'll find out. All right, we're going to move on in our agenda unless there's any questions for County Council. County reports. Very good. We're going to move to our ward reports. Mr. Walker, you are up first.
Oh, thank you, Your Worship. Little busy time, but anyways, we'll start here. June the 5th, participated virtually in a disability inclusion workshop through AMO. There were about 30 participants from various parts of the province and from various departments within the municipality. Basically talked about accessible audit training. They talked about models of disability, removing barriers, attitude and education. And they talked about committees and what committees should have as far as your accessibility committee. And I hate to say this, but we're right on the nose with everything we have in our committee. We have the right personnel. We have the right mix of what we need for that committee and that legislation. So our committee is right there when it comes to what's needed and required. The only thing I was a little disappointed with was there was two panelists, both with various disabilities. I thought maybe we might have got more into municipalities and how they were dealing with AODA compliance. There was none of that at all. You know, looking forward to maybe hearing of other municipalities and things that they were moving forward or questions they had about how to move forward with certain things, but that didn't take place. So hopefully that maybe if they have another one, that will be an issue, something that they can talk about and so everybody can kind of roll together and learn from each other municipalities developments or problems that they have that maybe somebody has an answer for. So that was on the 5th. On the 6th, glad to be part of the 10th anniversary of the Music Market in Parket with the Spoons. And all I can say is there was an awful crowd there, and I'm not sure on numbers, but I bet you we were 1,000 people anyways. On June 11th, we had our accessibility committee meeting, which we dealt with, which I highlighted some of the stuff that took place there. And the committee is looking forward to next year. We're going to go ahead and work on some events through Accessibility Week next year. So we're busy working on trying to decide what direction to go with that. The other is on the 12th, then I was at the fire hall to help celebrate Frank and Wender's wish to ride in a fire truck after many years of being a Toronto firefighter. Frank had some great stories, and I'm glad that Frank was able to do that. He was really pleased with that day. On 18th of June was the library board meeting, and we had a delegation from Mr. Charlton with a couple of issues that we are looking into at the library. On the 19th was the Sports Culture Hall of Fame Awards. And then this week we've got planning on Wednesday. And then I have two grandchildren graduating from Stainer Collegiate on Thursday evening.
Excellent. Well, I will see you on Thursday evening then. Thank you very much. I'll be at graduation as well. Mr. Beelan.
Thank you, Your Worship. June 16th, I attended the Indigenous Market in Creemore. I was really impressed with the dances and the speeches and the, was that a smudge pot or what do you call that where they blow this? That was kind of neat. June 18th, I attended the Georgian Triangle Development Institute lunch in Collingwood with Mr. Broderick. They were celebrating the Collingwood water and water treatment project. It was a good lunch. I can't tell you what I had, but it was pretty good. June 19th, I at the Station on the Green met. The Station on the Green, the outside of it is being painted, so it should be done this week. So if you go by there, it looks really bright and fresh. Also that evening, I attended the Clearview Culture and Sports Hall of Fame dinner. It was fantastic. Good job to Amanda and her crew. That's all I have.
Thank you very much for being there too on Wednesday night. That was great. I'll go to the deputy mayor. Would you like to go next?
Sure. Couple of things just to add on to, I know we talked about the governance, but our June 11th meeting, couple of things that have come that are really interesting or one was the violence against paramedics, and the violence against paramedics also extends to other careers, we'll say as well. But there's a new bill to protect paramedics and the likes in Senate right now, and it would increases with new training because we are seeing very much an increase in abuse, stress, physical problems as paramedics. A lot of times are the first ones to respond and we know the challenges we have today. So there's a new bill, and our staff at the Simcoe County is very supportive of it and looking at it, sort of thing. The second thing, we had a presentation actually, and the main I didn't realize the president of the Simcoe County YMCA, or chairman, is Todd Young from Wasaga Beach. So Todd gave us a presentation with the other individuals. They finally come with their potential ask for a new YMCA, which will be in Barrie, right near the Sadland Center on Bayview Street, on land being, we'll virtually say, donated by the city of Barrie. And it's going to be much more than a sports facility, as I call it. It's a traditional housing center for youth, cardiovascular rehab for RVH, and an immigration partnership with the county and the province as well. So it's going to be a very dynamic building. We talked a bit about Collingwood, their situation. They're on leased land. We talk about Wasaga Beach that owns the property. It's very productive, I think, Doug, the way they're handling it, and they will be looking back at the county again for more input and more money, of course, when they come into the operating costs. But we'll be working with them closely on that. We did talk a bit about waste management. We know where some of that's going to go, but I'm not going to step on that one too much right now. Just from my own point of view, yes, we attended with Frank Awender, the Stainer Hub. What a great department. It was really nice to see some of the Toronto firemen had their uniforms on and giving Frank the ride of his life, so to speak. We had the Culture and Sports Hall of Fame, and everybody realizes that how this has grown to such a dynamic event. It's not just sports, it's about culture and people who contribute to community. Last Thursday night, I did represent the county, which also means I represent this township at the Federation of Agriculture meeting, which I participated in. And I will just give a shout out. I hope I'm not standing on any other toes, but the Rough Mudder event at Abernant Veterinary Clinic, I was not there, but I heard was fantastic. And so if anybody will speak to that, I was not there, and unfortunately I had been in Guelph. So go ahead. I'm done speaking.
Okay, well, good job. And I'm glad you mentioned Rough Mudder. I was advised, I literally stopped in. There was cars all over the place, people everywhere. I said hello to a couple of folks, and then I had to bolt to I'll tell you about the event. But what a great energy that was coming out of that place. Good job. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Mr. MacArthur.
Yeah, just to highlight, I did take a drive by there Saturday afternoon, and yeah, that field was full of cars, so it must have been this. And I'm sure they got mudder and rougher that day. First thing, I attended the Indigenous Sunday celebration in Greenmore there a week or two ago, and great to see a lot of community out to support that. Evening Hall AGM last week, and not a whole lot to report, but we're happy to see that the hall is starting to move forward now in a more visible way. Went out to meet with Frank Allwender, a former Creemore resident that I talked to often back through the days of firefighter days. Number 3, attended the Culture and Sports Awards, and very good night. Thanks to Amanda and Terry and all the crew. And number 4, summer solstice in Creemore on Friday night. That was the place to be. We thought the market was 10th anniversary was big. The summer solstice probably gave it a run for its money. It was one huge crowd. The rain held off. Lots of entertainment. The Sadies were terrific, and just nobody wanted to leave. Even after the music stopped, there was nobody running out of town. And on that note, and as you all said about my father, so one story I keep remembering way back when I was driving snowplow for the county of Simcoe. And I was going down Airport Road, and it was one of those days where there was just drifts on the road and you were hitting the odd one, and there was traffic behind me. So we go down White's Hill. And of course, I'm not making any spray at all. So the cars are all right behind me. Get just south of 1213 side road and I meet Dad with his brand new pickup, 1,600 kilometers on it, heading to council. So I give him the big wave. At the same time, I hit the snowdrift. Time I get to Cash Town, I look back, there's no cars behind me. Sure enough, the guy right behind me got lost in the fog and half head on Dad with his brand new pickup. So fortunately, there was no injuries, but anyway, that was one of the council stories I remember from way back then. So I appreciate all the concerns and condolences so far, and thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you for sharing that story. Mr. Broderick.
Thank you, Your Worship. June 11th, I attended the Clearview Chamber of Commerce executive meeting. On the 12th, attended the Integrity Commissioner training for Clearview boards. On the 13th, attended the Simcoe Wardens Gala Dinner in Alliston. On June 18th, along with Councillor Beelan, attended an event held by the Georgian Bay Development Institute regarding the Collingwood Water Treatment Facility. Also on the 18th, attended the Clearview Library Board meeting. On June 19th, attended the Clearview Culture and Sports Hall of Fame Awards dinner. And good job, Terry and Amanda. That was quite a night. June 22nd, attended the Clearview Chamber of Commerce Business After 5 event featuring the Clearview Crushers versus the Six Nations Rivermen lacrosse game at the Clearview Arena in Stayner. And tomorrow night is I'm looking forward to the Creemore BIA meeting. And I'd just like to remind everyone of the Canada Day celebrations coming up on July 1st.
Thank you very much for that. I have a few items I'd like to review as well. Yes, I was away last week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I was out with the Niagara Escarpment Commission on a 3-day event in Niagara-on-the-Lake. Our commission met with all of the staff of the NEC, and I, for the first time, got to meet many of the planners and many of the staff and support staff who actually work for the NEC. And we had a very good strategic planning process meeting. To be honest, Council, it was a lot like some of our strategic planning process meetings where we, broke into groups, come up with ideas. We had the John, you would appreciate, we used the stickers on the wall to put the number of stickers behind each thing. And so it was a good session. It was the first time in 50 years of the Niagara Escarpment Commission that the commission had held a strategy planning meeting. The reason we were all together was that it was the 50th anniversary of the Niagara Escarpment Commission. And we met right at Queenston Heights, which is exactly where the Niagara Escarpment starts. And we had a great photograph taken. The deputy minister was there to attend from the Ministry of Natural Resources. And we were expecting the minister, but was not able to make it. But the deputy was there. And several past chairs of the NEC were also in attendance. So it was a very good sort of strategic planning and team building exercise with the NEC. Given that, the staff of the NEC, honestly worked very diligently to uphold the act of the NEC, but sometimes they are not as connected to the rest of the area as the counselors are. And so it was a very good education for both. We learned a lot from the staff, and I believe the staff learned a lot from the commissioners. So it was a really worthy event, and I think it'll make the NEC a better thing. That's what I'm really hoping. And so I think we've got a better understanding on how that works. So it was time well spent. I did get in the car right at Niagara-on-the-Lake where I could see the United States and drove straight to the Stainer Community Center to make it in time for the Sports Hall of Fame. And I was happy to be there. And the Sports and Culture Hall of Fame was a terrific night. Well done to, first of all, the committee and who worked on that, the nominees who put in their nominations, and then the successful recipients that have been honored to join the Sports and Culture Hall of Fame. Was just a great night. The staff obviously did a great job, along with our tourism staff who were there assisting. So it's nice to see that. And I got tired of every picture having me in it. So I'm going to recommend to the committee next time we have multiple people involved in the photographs, if you don't mind. Just, it was nice to be there, but I'm thinking all of you guys were there. So we're going to put you to work next time. All right. Thank you. I do want to mention the summer solstice. As it was said, it was a terrifically attended event, very well balanced and organized, really good vibe going on in the street. No problems at all that I was aware of with anybody. The picnic tables were always active, but also always cleaned off. And you know, there wasn't a whole group of volunteers going and just cleaning the tables. People were very polite and they would pick up their stuff and take it over to the garbage bins that were there. And then the table was clean. And so it was I was kind of impressed that that kind of vibe was going on. Many times you go to an outdoor event and people just leave their garbage, you know, on the table. Well, I can tell you that that was very noticeable. That was really great to see. The music was terrific. The park looks terrific. The water features were up and running, which was great to see. There were even signs that indicated washrooms, about discussion about washrooms, just so you know. There were signs. I'd never seen those before there when I've been to events, but there were signs. I did walk down to the washroom and there was a lineup of people. So just saying. On Saturday, I was invited by Mr. Ted Chrysler. You guys may not know who Mr. Chrysler is, but Mr. Chrysler is the current nominee of the Liberal Party for the riding of Simcoe Grey in the provincial elections. And Ted invited me to go for lunch. When I arrived, I was surprised that we were at this little business in downtown Collingwood. I was surprised to look over at the young lady who was making the coffee to realize it was Kathleen Wynne. She was actually making the coffee and putting the thing together and pouring the water in the machine. I was like, that was Kathleen Wynne. How about that? And then a few minutes later, Bonnie Crombie walked in as well. And so it was quite interesting to stand there. I had Ted, I had Kathleen Wynne, and I had Bonnie Crombie all in the room at the same time together, having a quick conversation with them while other people were gathering. So it was a nice opportunity to meet the leader of the Liberals and to have a conversation about issues related to our community. I would encourage her to, if she wishes to be successful up here, she needs to keep visiting our community because she didn't know that Allen's was Reinhardt's. And I had to share with her that Reinhardt's is actually in Clearview Township, not in Collingwood. So nevertheless, that was my little outing there to visit with them. This week, as we said, we're going to be off to County Council tomorrow. Wednesday, we do have a busy day here as well with our planning session. Thursday, music, market and parket. Thursday also graduations. I have 2 graduations to attend. The deputy mayor is attending Our Lady of the Bay graduation. It'll be a very busy day on Thursday for sure. Friday is a day of rest for me, and then we will get revved up for Canada Day on the 1st. Really looking forward to seeing you and all the community members come out to that. I'll be there with my Mustang if the weather's excellent. I'm hoping the weather's excellent on Canada Day, and we'll hope that we celebrate our great country. Okay. Thank you very much for letting me share all that information with you. Council, we're going to move on in our agenda because we do have a hockey game to get to. Let's see here. Public Works Department. This is the Highway 26 pedestrian trail crossing bylaw. Recommendation be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby receive report PW 017-2024 Highway 26 pedestrian trail crossing bylaw dated June 24, 2027. And item 1, that Council support the installation of pedestrian trail crossovers on Highway 26 just east of Brock Street and at Highway 26 south of Lock Avenue. And item 2, that a bylaw to establish pedestrian trail crossovers be presented to council at the June 24th, 2024 meeting. Can I have a mover and seconder on this important? That'll be Mr. Broderick. Mr. Walker, thank you very much. Public Works, do you have any comments you'd like to bring forward in this document?
Thank you, Your Worship. Here to answer any questions if you have any, but just quickly, county is now moving into the construction phase of their trail development. And so as part of that, they've sought our support and we are certainly working with them. Part of the construction will be the removal of the existing rails and ties over at the station park area. And the installation of these pedestrian crossings as they develop the trail down to New Lowell in phase 1, which is slated to happen this summer and fall. Yeah, so similarly to the pedestrian signal crossing that we installed on North Street last year, to satisfy the requirements of our connecting link agreement, the MTO requires us to pass a bylaw to incorporate that into our system.
Okie dokie. Members of council, any questions to Public Works? Dan, yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. Dan, good quick question. I see our bylaw officers have been out on the nights of music in the park. If we didn't have them this year, we'd be in real trouble. So do you still see using the bylaw officers for crossing on special occasions, or will this, like the one at Brock Street, be totally replacing that situation?
I would suspect that we would need, I guess we're calling a crossing guard. Motorists are required to yield the right of way once the pedestrian activates the flashing lights. Out here at Main Street, it will be a signal similarly to level or type B, which has the pedestrian crossing symbol above the roadway, and then some flashing white lights, beacons, to alert motorists that somebody wants to cross there. So it would depend on, how comfortable pedestrians would be crossing that at that time. So that's more of an operational discussion, I would say, that whether a crossing person would be needed there.
Okay, any other councilors with a question? Yes, Mr. MacArthur.
Yeah, so I just understand these are just going to be activated flashing lights. They're not going to be a total stop signal like we installed at our location.
Through Your Worship, that's correct. So appendix B, it outlines what those will look like. So they will be activated, and just above the sign of the posts, there'll be some alternating flashing white lights that alert motorists that somebody wants to cross there, and motorists are required to yield under the Highway Traffic Act.
That's not it.
Yeah, so that's that one would be at Lock Avenue, that setup, and the one above, just above there, that'll be at Main Street in Brock. I think that the setup, sorry, just to expand on that, I think the setup that the county proposed is based on traffic volumes more so than anything. I think there's more volume on Main Street than there is on 26. So I think that's just the difference there.
Can I just clarify then, leaving that photograph up? You're talking, this is still it would appear like a traffic signal with the red, amber, and green? And then the flashing lights are on the side?
No, Your Worship.
So what is that going to say on the top?
So at the top on those arms, they will just be signs.
Signs.
There'll be a pedestrian, a white with a person on it.
All right.
On the post above the pedestrian sign, so the same one above there, there's flashing
I know.
beacons there.
When I first looked at this, actually, I visualized it being the crosswalk sign, like the horizontal sign with the X's crosswalk. That's what I thought we were taking. And then when I got into the report, I saw this and was like, okay, so it'll be a smaller sign that'll say crossing, right?
That is correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Trail, I think it'll say trail crossing underneath the,
Just when you read the report, I understood it to be that rectangular sign that says
Yeah.
crosswalk with the X's on either end.
yeah,
So-
I think your worship, I think those are a bit maybe older style.
I
This is
agree.
more of a newer style that everybody's moving to. You'll notice this exact setup, will be on Highway 89, just at Cookstown, with
Yeah.
our trail there. So, I think it's, I think it's more of a newer style than those big, crosswalk.
I understand. I just thinking how it integrates into the heritage look of the downtown of Stainer.
Right.
There you go. Okay, anybody else? Yes, Mr. Walker?
Thank you, Your worship. So Dan, it's normal just for the white lights at trail crossings, no red lights. I just not sure that white flashing light will do what it's intended to do. I really think that those should be red lights for stopping because the traffic that runs through this municipality, they won't move over for green flashing lights when they're heading for the hall. And I just think that red will draw more attention to the stopping than the white light will. That's just my comment. I'm just not sure. I like the white light at all. That's all.
Go ahead, Dan.
Thank you, Your worship. And my thought would be that perhaps once these are installed, that the OPP might want to visit that area to observe. Because like I said before, it is a requirement under the Highway Traffic Act that motorists do yield once those are activated. And so it would be a violation of the Highway Traffic Act. So yeah. So we'll notify those OPP.
Can I ask a question then? Would it be appropriate to have crossing ahead signs installed as well?
Thank you, Your worship. If I remember correctly in the drawings that I've seen, there are trail crossing ahead signs at all of our locations.
Yes.
That where this trail crosses all our roads.
Yeah.
So I can double check that for council if they wish to
Yeah.
make sure that those get put up here as well.
I think if you were to put up a crossing ahead sign and then you could put a flashing amber on top of it on a permanent basis.
Perhaps.
And then that way, when the flashing lights appear, it would then trigger the driver to attend to that issue, right?
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, I appreciate where you're coming from, and it's difficult to try to change the MTO Highway Traffic Act at this table, but I absolutely respect what Councillor Walker's saying. Thank you. Is there any other members of council with any questions? All right. Okay, we've got a mover and seconder. We've got a motion. We've got some answers. How about we move to receive this? All those in favor? That carries unanimous. Thank you. Next one is the Collingwood Street tender, bridge tender results. All right. Be very careful reading this number. Be it resolved, the Council of the Township of Clearview hereby receive report PW 018-2024 Collingwood Street Bridge tender results dated June 24, 24. Item 1, the council award the tender submitted by Sonsin, is that right? Sunken? How do you say it, John? Sonsin? Sunsin? Okay. Construction in the amount of $3,636,008.81, excluding HST for the Collingwood Street Bridge project as described in the tender and summarized in this report. Okay, mover and seconder. Mr. MacArthur, Mr. Broderick, thank you. Go ahead, Dan or Todd.
Your worship, Mr. Dokanish is the author of this
Mr.
report.
Dokanish, of
and
course.
He is online. And
There he is. Hello there, Mr. Dokanish. Can you
Good
hear us
evening,
okay?
Worship. Yeah, can you hear me
Yes.
all right?
Yes, I
Good.
can. Go right ahead, sir.
Thank you. No, basically, nothing further to add to the report as summarized. But what I can say is that once council approves, the contractor is ready to start right away in anticipation of timeline that will be completed in this winter. But I'm here for any questions.
Okay, I'm sure there's something. Members of council, do you have any questions to this report? Yes, Mr. Van Staver.
Thank you. Mr. Duquesne, it's a good report. I was really surprised in the variation on the tenders. Like some of the tenders were double, but this low tender, I just want to make sure we're not missing anything. Now, you made a great comment last meeting that, after this, post-COVID, a lot of the fat's coming out of these tenders now, and I would almost indicate that this is one of them, but can you just comment on the spread on the tenders?
Through your worship. Basically, the spread in tenders, I can't really pinpoint exactly as to why the huge variance. What I can say, as I said last time, it could be, some are still in the COVID mindset, I would say. But again, for a project like this, there's only really a handful or a few that actually specialize in this type of construction for bridges.
All right, is that good? Deputy Mayor? Yep. Do you have something, Mr. MacArthur? Yes, go right ahead.
Yeah, I just want to comment on the page 2 there, the experience and reference. These construction companies obviously had some fairly highly visible work in the Toronto area, and sounds like fairly good rapport on all of them. So I think I'm pretty comfortable with this tender.
All right, thank you very much. Any other
That
members
is
of
correct.
council? Yes, go ahead, Mr. Duquesne.
Oh, I was just emphasizing that is correct. And they also had done pre-qualification with the County of Simcoe as well for various amount of projects concerning the bridges.
Okie dokie. Anybody else with any other questions? All right. Well, the one thing is I will learn how to pronounce the name of this contractor correctly, and we'll get it right later. At this time, though, we have a mover and seconder on the motion, and I'm prepared to call the motion. All those in favor? That carries unanimous. Thank you very much, council. Moving on, page 4. For those that are following along at home, speed reduction on various roads. Okay. Also a public works report. Be it resolved that council of the township of Clearview hereby receive report PW 019-2024 speed reduction on various roads dated June 24, 2024. Item 1. The council approve reducing the speed limit on 3637 Side Road, Nottawasaga from 80 kilometers per hour to 60 kilometers per hour from 1,400 meters west of County Road 124 to Concession 10 Nottawasaga. And item 2, that council approve reducing the speed limit on Centerline Road from 80 kilometers per hour to 60 kilometers per hour from 500 meters south of Warrington Road to Highway 26. And item 3, that staff be directed to present a speed reduction bylaw at the next regular council meeting. Can I have a mover and seconder to get this on the floor? Mr. Walker. Mr. Deputy Mayor, thank you very much. All right. Let's see, who wants to speak about this? Is this also you, Dan? Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, your worship.
Thank you.
Yep, this is my report. The 2 locations included in one report, but I'll speak to the first one on 3637 Side Road. Going way back to 2021, the traffic assessment study that was completed had identified this road as a possibility for reduction. And noting that council reduced the speed in 2022, I believe it was, on the 10th concession. This left a section of this road, very short section, at 80 kilometers. So as you are leaving Nottawa Village, it was 50, then it went to 80, and then if you were to turn on the 10th concession, you're back to 60. So there was some discussion about it being confusing. The second one is in the same vein as my first report, in cooperation and working with the county on the trail development. As as vehicles would approach the crossing at Warrington Road, at the trail, the speed and volume was requiring some excessive trail crossings, so over and above what were proposed at Main Street. And so staff are proposing to reduce the speed in cooperation with the county south of Warrington Road and all the way up to Highway 26 as you're entering into Stainer a little bit. And the people that live on there, I think there's been a few calls over the years about reducing that speed there as well. So those are the two locations. Happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you very much. Are there questions from members of council? Oh, yes, please, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. Dan, on the first part of the motion 36, 37, I'm not having problems with that because it cleans that area up, sort of thing. It's that one little strip that doesn't make sense. On the Centerline Road application, I would like it, the 500 meters south of Warrington Road, would that put us at the 9th line?
Your worship, it's just north of there. It's about halfway-ish between the 9th concession and Warrington Road.
Do you think it'd be worthwhile to go to the 9th line? Like I keep thinking about what we went through some of our other roads, and you know, to get speeds, the people slowed down on the center line or on 3-4 side road. I would almost wonder if we're so close to the 9th line, whether we should bring it to the 9th line. I'm just questioning it if it's not, there's no logical reason. You know, there was I've had a bit of a discussion a while ago and it was a slip of the tongue. They thought they were going to get a big stop sign at the 9th line. Well, we're not doing that, but we want them slowed down on the center line road. So anyways, it would just make a logical transition at the 9th line. That's all I'm thinking.
I think for clarity, maybe through the clerk, if that was a requested amendment, then I would have no issue with.
Thank you, through your worship. It can be a friendly amendment or it can be an actual formal amendment. Whichever way, it'll be reflected in the minutes.
That's what I was going to say. Go ahead.
Excuse me. I'll throw that at Councillor Beelan because he was the one who promoted or pushed the stop signs at 3-4 and the 9th line, working with the county, what we've done. Marty, Councillor Beelan, would you like to comment on that?
If people obey the stop signs, yes, it would slow down people approaching that intersection so that if somebody did go through it, you wouldn't hit them as hard. I'm okay with either way. You're slowing the traffic down for people crossing at the crossing, which is what this is intended. I think people stop at that intersection anyway because it's a T. So I don't think there's that many accidents there. So I don't think you have to go to the 9th, but I'm okay with it if you do.
No, I just want to hear the discussion. So
Yeah.
I would just leave the door open that at a later date, if we want to, that we can move it back further if it becomes an issue. That's all.
All right. If I may, I'm going to suggest too that perhaps we send this, we receive this and we move on this action, but then we ask staff to consider this amendment. And I would think the other amendment is going to now percolate, and that is that the section of Warrington Road that goes from Centerline sort of towards Stainer, there's a section there that would need to be reduced from 80 down to 60 as well. It's short.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a section that's 80 right there. And so that's the same issue that we're dealing with at 36, 37. So I'm thinking that if we can approve this and we can do a bylaw on this, we can move this forward. But I think the next step after that will be to complete that and change those two sections. Marty, you want to say something and then I'll.
So Paul, when you said to County Road or to concession 9, we lowered the speed limit approaching those intersections. So would you want to go 500 meters south of 9 or right at 9?
I was considering south of 9, but I think with the intent that we slow the traffic for the trail crossing, and as the mayor has indicated that we've got an 80-kilometer section on Warrington Road right now, let's deal with that first and see how that works. I mean, I I mean, we mentioned the word GPS and people freak and we get all this traffic being diverted by GPS. I mean, the next ask will probably be that 3-4 gets reduced as well at that trail point down. So let's try this and let's see how this works. But I'm a little concerned we're going to be moving traffic in our community.
Well, it's never ending because the demonstrated behavior of our, users of our road are that they speed excessively. So even by reducing the speed, it becomes at 80 is now acceptable rather than 100. Like right now, if it's 80, people go 100. So.
Well, I can tell you when I got hurt there a week ago Thursday and I had an individual driving me to the hospital and the people in front of us weren't doing more than 80. It was
Yeah.
like, I'm frustrated with you, but I respect what you're doing. Anyways, we're doing what we can to hear the people and.
I think there's good
that's
logic in this though, as the director pointed out that this was something that was talked about in 2001. And, the conversation in 2001 got diverted to bicycle users and et cetera, et cetera. And so I think we should stick with the report we've got, but I think the staff should be clearly understood that the question on Warrington would need to be addressed because now you're creating the same situation. And whether we go right down to 9, given data that we collect from users of the road later. Does that make sense?
Certainly
Council,
does. Yep.
you're comfortable with that? All right. Council, nothing further then? Anybody else? Please slow down, folks. Council, thank you, Dan. Todd, we've got a motion in front of you. I'm prepared to call the motion. All those in favor? That carries unanimous. Well done. Okay, still on to Public Works. We're going to purchase a disc mower. Be it resolved, the Council of Township Clearview hereby receive report PW 020-2024 regarding a disc mower. And let's see, item number 1, Council approved the purchase from Pottinger disc mower in the amount of $17,500 plus HST. Disc mower. Mr. Broderick, thank you. Mr. MacArthur, thank you. Todd, how do you want to use this disc mower?
Thank you, Worship. We'd like to use it to cut the roadside grass is what we'd like to do with it.
Roadside grass.
Yeah, roadside grass
Okay.
disc mower. There you go. But
That's a good use for a disc mower.
I think so. Yeah, and the reason for the report is because we'd like to accept the second lowest tender in this case. The one that was low tender we've had in the past and just haven't had good luck with it doing this application. And as the report shows, the maintenance costs kind of outweigh the benefit in our opinion. So we do have a Pottinger that we bought last year, as the report says, and year 1 it would work great for us. It was good service. We had some minor issues that they come right out and helped us with, so we were happy with that. And we feel having 2 of the same just makes sense for parts, for operators' ease of repair, service and such.
Okay. This attaches to our tractor, I presume?
That's correct. Yeah, one of our utility tractors.
Okay. Members of council, any questions? No? Yes, go ahead, Paul.
Todd, can you explain to us for the public's thoughts what the difference between a flail mower and a disc mower is?
Sure. Yeah. The disc mower has round heads that spin around, has 3 or 4 different blades on it that spins, and there's 4, 5, 6 different heads on it. The flail mower will spin this way, and it was one big drum that cuts, and sometimes will knock down the grass more than cut it unless if you're going too fast. So we did look at a flail mower in the past, but it was just too heavy for our equipment, actually.
Good, thank you.
All right, thank you very much for that. Members of council, any questions? Nothing? All right, thank you, Todd. And council, you've got a motion in front of you to purchase this disc mower. We have a mover and seconder, and I'm prepared to call the motion. All those in favor? And that carries. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much, Public Works staff. Nottawab Hall vestibule and roof repair. So council, this is, as you recall, a returning motion as a result of asking for this to be reconsidered. And we have a report. Be it resolved that council of the Township of Clearview hereby receive report PCR 012-2024 Nottawab Hall vestibule and roof repair dated June 24, 2024. Item 1, the council approve repairing the front vestibule and roof at the Nottawab Hall in the amount of $34,556.30 plus HST. And item 2, that the cost of these repairs be funded from the tax stabilization reserve. Okay, can I get a mover and seconder on this important motion? Mr. Walker, thank you. Mr. Broderick, thank you. Hello there, Mr. Vashon.
Hello, your worship.
Are you all ready to fix a vestibule and roof?
Definitely, yep.
Okay.
Not myself, but I'm
Well,
definitely gonna hire a contractor to do it.
Okay.
Yes.
How are you with a hammer gun? You know?
Yeah, not that good.
Okay.
So, yeah,
No, go ahead.
Yes, sure. Thank you, your worship. So, yeah, we, as you mentioned, we took council's direction. We went back and Mr. Limegard has provided an estimate for an actual truss roof that would connect to the hall itself. It comes in at approximately $7,000 more than what was originally intended with the flat roof. But the department recommends that this is probably better way to go. It's going to definitely add some life to that front vestibule. So yeah, so I'm available for any questions that you or council may have.
All right, members of council, thank you, Mr. Vashon. Any questions? No questions? All right. On behalf of Councillor Deneen, I want to thank you for bringing the report forward with the improved information. I'm sure she would be pleased to see it. Council, if there's nothing further? Okay, I'm prepared to call the motion. All those in favor? That carries unanimous. Thank you very much. Thank you, Terry. Okay, Building and Planning Department, closeout of official plan review budget. This is a kind of a nice little motion. You don't see this kind of thing very often. It's nice to see. All right. This is the recommendation. Be it resolved, the Council of the Township of Clearview hereby receive report PB 017, the closeout of the official plan review budget dated June 24th, 2024 for information. Okay, moved by Mr. Beelan and seconded by Mr. Deputy Mayor. Thank you. All right, Amy, do you have anything you'd like to say to this?
Thank you, your worship. I'll give a very brief summary of the report, if you're okay with that. At its meeting on May 27th, you'll recall that Clearview Council adopted the new official plan. So some members of council will recall that in 2019, the contract for the official plan was awarded to GSP Group for $70,000. The following year in 2020, an additional $20,000 was budgeted to complete the project for an anticipated $90,000 to complete the originally planned scope of work. So the staff report before you goes into detail about how the process unfolded beginning in 2019. Due to a number of things, the official plan review process required more time and scope adjustments to complete. So notwithstanding any appeals or significant changes at the county level, the completed official plan cost will be $121,000, which is available, of course, in the planning policy reserve. So not coming today to ask council for any additional budget. So though the project exceeded the originally anticipated scope and budget, the product is more robust and it is a thoughtful plan. The adopted official plan will maintain its usefulness for a longer period of time without the need for immediate revisitation or amendment. The intensive work put into the new official plan has and will produce a number of financial and community development benefits for the township. Steve Weaver is good enough to have joined us today virtually to answer any questions, and I'm happy to answer any questions as well.
Okay, welcome aboard there, Mr. Weaver. I know you're on there. I don't see you, but I'm sure you're there. Members of council, do you have any questions to our staff or our consultant? Seeing none? All right, I'll just say to Steve, thank you very much for working with us and working with our staff and being patient to hear comments from the public as we move through the whole entire process. So thank you to you and your staff and Patrick, who is on there with you. So thank you very much for your work on this project. And Amy, to you and your staff, thank you very much also for getting us there. I appreciate you started your comment by saying this will now serve us for a very long time. And considering the other document was 2006, it also served for a very long time. So thank you very much. Council, nothing further? I'm prepared to call the motion. All those in favor? And that carries unanimous. Thank you, Mr. Weaver. Have a good evening. Thank you, Amy. All right, council, we're going to move on. We are on page 5. We are now looking at our legislative services. We are going to talk about the 2026 municipal election. How about that? The clerk suddenly got all excited about it. Wow. It's an odd work, the clerk's department. You have to get excited about an election. Okay. Recommendation, be it resolved that council, the Township of Clearview hereby receive report LS 023 2024. is the 2026 municipal and school board election voting method dated June 24th, 2024. Item 1, council approve internet voting as an alternative voting method for the 2026 municipal and school board election. And item 2, that staff be directed to bring a bylaw forward to council to establish alternative voting methods and to permit advanced voting as per the Municipal Elections Act 1996, once an elections vendor has been chosen. Okay, I'll take a mover and seconder. Roderick, thank you. Walker, thank you very much. All right, Madam Clerk, tell us how the 2026 election is going to be exciting.
Thank you, Worship, through you to the rest of council. I know it seems a little bit early to be talking about the election, but we're not that far out, and a lot of municipalities right after they've done their election will choose their vote method fairly quickly, especially if they like the vendor that they used for that previous election. We also want to get ahead of the game so that we can start looking at different vendors so that we can get our preferred vendor, because a lot of them will have a cap on their client list so that they're able to provide the best customer service possible. So this is why I'm bringing this report forward to council now at this time. I did go into the 3 different voting methods, and as I say in my report, Clearview over the last 10 years has used all 3 of them. So we have seen some benefits, pros and cons to each of them, but I think internet voting for the next election is a good space to move forward with. Thank you.
Okay, and if there are members of council who have any questions about the report and or the voting method? Yes, go ahead, Mr. Beelan.
Thank you, Your Worship. You said it's about 10% that used voting in person. Do we know how many voted by mail? I don't see that anywhere. Did I miss it?
Yeah.
That was for the 2010 election, and I didn't pull that report from 2010. So I used the report from last election because we used a hybrid. So that kind of gave you a good indication of both traditional ballots and for internet. I didn't pull the numbers from 2010 for vote by mail because we didn't use that method last election.
No, we didn't use it last. I thought we did, but we didn't.
All right, just making sure. Thank you.
I think what he means is you received your voter letter in the mail, and that's probably what you're identifying as vote by mail. So it told you how to vote by internet and then our advanced voting. So that would be your voter letter.
Right, you couldn't vote by mail, but I think if we use internet voting, we still need to send the letters out that explain how to do it and everything, like we did, yeah.
I recall you had to send out the letter from the clerk's department so that there would be a PIN number so that the person could log into the internet and use that, or use the PIN number on the telephone voting option, which was also available. And in person, they had the option of using the PIN number, or the clerk or deputy, whatever, was able to just research and find them. Is that correct? I think that's how you did it.
Yeah, the voter letter.
Clerk, yeah.
Yeah, so the voter letter did give you your actual PIN number to vote by internet. And then it also gave you the advanced voting dates for the traditional ballots where you could go to those locations and actually mark your ballot on a piece of paper. You also could use the internet at those locations as well. We had separate kiosks.
I remember that. Thank you. Any other questions? Any other questions? All right. Yeah. Oh, yes, Mr. Beelan.
So do we provide places for people that don't have a computer to come and vote online? Like I'm assuming here and maybe a few other places?
That's a great question. Yes, 2 weeks before the actual election day, we do provide voting spaces, kiosks to help people with voting by internet. Usually we have space for about 2 people here. And actual on voting day in the past, we've used our libraries as well and our administration center. If people want to go to those locations to vote by internet, they can and receive assistance as well, or get a voter card if they're not on the list.
Okay. Council, nothing further. All right. Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. I'm glad to see you've got the election file open. Members of council, you've got a motion in front of you with a mover and seconder. I'm prepared to call the motion. All those in favor? That carries unanimous. Thank you so much. Going to move to our bylaw department and bylaws. Bylaw 2442 in regards to the pedestrian crossing on Highway 26. Be it resolved that bylaw 2442, being a bylaw to designate a section of Highway 26 within the jurisdiction of the Township of Clearview as pedestrian crossovers be presented and read a first, second, and third time finally passed on the 24th day of June 2024. Take a mover and seconder on the bylaw. Mr. Broderick, Deputy Mayor, thank you. You've heard the bylaw. I'm prepared to call it. All those in favor? That bylaw carries unanimous. Thank you very much. Council, development charges bylaw. This came to us as a result of a previous meeting. This is the development charges bylaw township-wide recommendation. Be it resolved that bylaw 2443, being a bylaw to establish development charges for the corporation of the Township of Clearview township-wide, be presented and read a first, second, and third time finally passed on the 24th day of June 2024. Mr. Deputy Mayor, thank you. Mr. Walker, thank you. Council, you have the bylaw in front of you. I'm prepared to call the motion. All those in favor? Bylaw carries unanimous. Thank you. Okay. Now we have the bylaw 2444. This is the Canada Community Building Funds CCBF Administrative Agreement. There is a small explanatory note on here as well, which I'm sure you've reviewed. So at this time, I will just read the recommendation. Be it resolved that bylaw 2444 being a bylaw to authorize entering into a municipal funding administrative agreement with the Association of Municipalities of Ontario for the administration of the Canada Community Building Fund be presented and read a first, second, and third time finally passed on the 24th day of June 2024. Okay, can I get a mover on that? Walker, thank you. And MacArthur, thank you. All right. Any, you have the bylaw in front of you. Any questions on the explanatory note? I'll give you the opportunity if there's anything. Not seeing, not needing any. Thank you. Council, then I'm prepared to call the motion. All those in favor? And the bylaw carries unanimous. Thank you very much. Okay, moving over to page 6. Okay. On page 6, we have the notice of motion and new business. There is a notice here in regards to community safety zones and reducing the speed to 40 kilometers per hour on Brock and Elm Street. We will bring this to our July 8th meeting. And thank you, Mr. Broderick, for bringing this forward. There's nothing else under new business other than I have a small declaration to make on your behalf. And the clerk doesn't even know about this, but my declaration is this, that I will declare July and August for council meeting purposes, jacket and tie free. Thank you very much. July and August, jacket and tie free. We have a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of our council meeting. Recommendation be it resolved that bylaw 2445, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the June 24th, 2024 council meetings, be presented and read a first, second, and third time finally passed this 24th day of June 2024. Could I have a mover and seconder? Mr. Broderick, Mr. MacArthur, thank you for the confirmatory. Any questions? All those in favor? And that carries unanimous. Thank you very much. We have a motion to adjourn. Just before we go to a motion to adjourn, I do want to acknowledge that a member of our staff and who's in the room with us today is having her birthday. Happy birthday, Emily. Yay. And I'm quite sure that none of you will see her because she's actually running the cameras right now. But let's just say she's here in the room and smiling from ear to ear. Well done. Happy birthday. All right. Also, before we go to motion to adjourn, I also want to acknowledge again that we will have Canada Day here on Monday, which is a holiday. The administration center, of course, will be closed, but the community will be celebrating. So please get out and celebrate Canada Day. We live in a beautiful country, folks. So we'll see you at the fireworks and we will see you at the parade and several other functions that are happening around the community. I know the little Ashton Meadows over here, they're having a little get together. They want us to come over, and then also the Legion and Creemore has a get together. They've invited us. So there's a few things happening, but we'll see you all during Canada Day. This is the resolution to adjourn our council meeting, and the time is 6:45. And can I have Mr. Beelan will be the mover and Mr. Deputy Mayor will be the seconder that this meeting be adjourned. All those in favor? Thank you. Go Edmonton. No doubt in my mind, Edmonton. Have the faith. Right on. Okay, guys, have a good meeting. Bye.